As a son of a public school teacher and a Boeing employee, I didn't have political connections when I first ran for office. How did I take on the establishment and defeat a 20-year incumbent? I ran a grassroots campaign and knocked on 22,000 doors, and this is the first home I visited. Let's see if the couple I met back then is still here.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Floyer. I really appreciate that. I've never been afraid to take on big challenges, and I've never forgotten who I'm fighting for. We're standing up for what's right, and we've won a lot.
This case brought by Washington State and Minnesota, this absolutely cut the Trump administration off at their knees.
We have an American hero, and that's the Attorney General of Washington. He stood up to bigotry and racism and contested it.
When Donald Trump attacked women and students and working people time and time again, Bob Ferguson stood up for what is right, and I want to personally thank him for that.
He convinced the feds not to challenge legalized pot. He pushed for a faster cleanup at Hanford.
Because of our great work of our Attorney General Bob Ferguson, we now will be free to continue to dispense this to women in Washington State.
He's showing up for sexual and reproductive health care in Washington. Bob Ferguson is there for us.
What he's been doing for our most harmed communities from the opioid epidemic is huge.
So let's talk about the result and the end game of swinging for the fences.
Yeah, it's $500 million that's coming to Washington, all the local jurisdictions.
I came here when I was 7 years old in 2002 from Caracas, Venezuela. All throughout my college career, I was a DACA beneficiary. I want to thank Bob Ferguson for taking the chance to fight for my community and responding to this unconstitutional and immoral act against people like me.
If the overwhelming majority of dreamers were Caucasian, does anybody really think this president would have taken the action he took yesterday? It's outrageous. It is. It's outrageous.
Bob Ferguson showed up for me in a way that was really meaningful and helpful to me. In the aftermath of this horrific shooting in Mukilteo, where my son was nearly taken, and I witnessed the grief of 3 families who've lost their young children, here is Washington State's highest law enforcement officer. He's already got legislation drafted to change things.
I propose addressing ghost guns. That's been adopted. I proposed for 6 years banning high-capacity magazines. The legislature last year adopted that change. Now it's time to ban the sale of assault weapons. I'm proposing that as well.
The new ban on the sale of so-called assault weapons, the bill was signed into law this afternoon.
Ferguson tweeted, "My office is undefeated in court against the gun lobby. We plan to keep that record intact."
Here's what I believe. Washingtonians must have the freedom to make their own healthcare decisions, to be safe, to breathe clean air and drink clean water, to be free from discrimination, to start a small business, to make a living wage and have a safe work environment, to have opportunities to succeed in all kinds of careers. I'm standing in front of the first door I knocked on to announce my Exploratory campaign to be the next governor of Washington State. I look forward to listening and learning from Washingtonians in every county and corner of this great state. The only way we can win and move Washington forward is building the same grassroots coalition we always have, together. Join me.